Throughout the ages, the Islamists never hesitated to protest against the oppression of the tyrants. They never accepted the way of appeasing the autocratic rulers. Never did they become any foot-licking slaves. They always held their heads up high and voiced the truth. They sang the songs of justice and freedom. And just for this reason, they always faced harassment and oppression from the state. Through such struggle and self-sacrifice, they set shining examples of inspiration and spirit. Among the stories of companions who suffered terrible persecution and torture for accepting Islam, Hazrat Khubayb radiallahu anhu was one of the prominent. The Meccan unbelievers put him to death for no crime, but he was never afraid, even at his gallows. Instead, he requested to be given the chance to pray 2 rak'ah of prayer. After finishing the prayer, he said to the unbelievers, "You may think that I was lengthening the prayer in fear of the death, but I swear to Allah that only for this reason I have shortened my prayer." He was repeating the Shahada as he approached the death and was saying, "O Allah, destroy the strength and power and never forgive any one of them." Then the unbeliever spectators burst into laughter and turned the martyrdom into an animalistic celebration. Umar Mukhtar was born in a remote village in Libya. Starting from 1920, he had fought against the Italian aggressors for almost 20 years. In an attempt to extinguish the independence campaign, the Italians captured him on the 11th of September 1931. Within 3 days, a show trial gave him the death sentence. When asked about his last wish, Umar Mukhtar recited the verse from the Quran, "Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un." At the age of 70, he demonstrated to the world how to stay firm, even at the moment of the last breath, and hold onto the truth fearlessly. Imam Hassan al-Banna was a social and political reformer in Egypt. He noticed how the Egyptian society was becoming immersed into materialism and detached from Islamic values as a result of Western influence.
وإني على ثقة من طريقي إلى الله رب السنا والشروق فإن عافني السوق أو عاقني فإني أمين لعهد الوثيق فإني أمين لعهد الوثيق.
He established the Muslim Brotherhood with the help of 6 other Islamic personalities, and Muslim Sisterhood with the help of some sisters. This had made the rulers at the time very nervous. They tried to stop this movement by arresting and torturing Imam Hassan al-Banna repetitively. Finally, by the order of the rulers, Imam Banna was shot dead on the 11th of February 1949. After being shot, he was refused admission into any hospital and died from bleeding. Even his burial was done so hurriedly that his own brothers were not allowed to attend that funeral. His 90-year-old father finished the burial on his own. Afterwards, the police began a strict searching of the area inside the local mosques, so that no one could pray for him or display any condolence and or express any sympathy for him. Sayyid Qutb Shahid was a writer, educationalist, Islamic ideologist and a poet. He became the editor of the Muslim Brotherhood journal Ikhwan al-Muslimin in 1954. He had been writing criticism against the oppression and tyranny of Gamal Nasser's pharaonic rule. He was a vocal critic of the oppressive regime. Nasser's government shut down the journal very soon, and the Muslim Brotherhood was banned, using a trumped-up attempt staged by the intelligence to kill Nasser. Most leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood were arrested and tortured. Sayyid Qutb was jailed for 15 years by a show trial. After that, he was arrested for the second time with his brother and 2 sisters, along with 20,000 members of the Muslim Brotherhood. They were tried in a special tribunal. Sayyid Qutb and his 2 associates were given the death sentence. He was asked by Nasser's staff to seek clemency from the government, but he replied, "I'm very surprised that the oppressed is being asked to seek forgiveness from the oppressor. I swear to Allah that if uttering some words can save me from the gallows, I am still unwilling to utter those words. I want to return to Allah in such a state that I am pleased with Him and He is pleased with me." He was martyred by hanging on the 29th of August, 1966.
كفاح الكفاح طويا ينادي الكفاح الكفاح
أخي إن ضربت علي الدموع وبللت قبري بها.
The scene has not changed even after the century has ended. The clash between the tyrant rulers and the Islamic leaders is an everlasting and universal one. Even in this 21st century, the oppressive rulers, in their pride of power, using democratic masks, are trying to eliminate the leaders of the truth. But the truth can never be suppressed. Abdul Qadir Mullah was a prominent leader of the Islamic movement in Bangladesh. He demonstrated his brilliance and merits throughout his student life. He earned the gold medal both in his honours and master's examinations from the most prestigious Dhaka University. At the beginning of his career, he was a teacher and even a principal at various academic institutions. In 1981, he became the executive editor of the Daily Sangam newspaper. He was elected twice as the Secretary General of the Dhaka Journalists Union. After the Awami League came to power in 2009, they planned to stay in power indefinitely. To eliminate any threat to their such goal, they started to arrest the prominent scholars, intellectuals, and politicians. In 2010, Abdul Qadir Mullah was arrested with false fabricated charges. Only because of his involvement in the Islamic movement, he became the target of the secularists. He was first given a life sentence in jail by the politically motivated show trial. But after that, even more despicably, the government changed the law to change that into a death sentence. Despite worldwide condemnation against this, the government hurriedly hanged Mr. Abdul Qadir Mullah on the 12th of December 2013. When asked to seek forgiveness from the president, he rejected that firmly and said with a firm conviction, "I have never committed any crime. So, my head was always held up high, and it will always remain up high. You will never see tears in my eyes." He said to his children, "You will take the revenge, not physically, but by establishing the Islamic rule in this country." The tyrant regime and its supporters are celebrating this barbaric injustice like animals. They want to extinguish the light of truth with a single blow. But throughout the ages, this light of truth had been kept alight by enlightened people, even by sacrificing their lives. Their only goal is the martyrdom. Like the Bengali national poet Nazrul Islam says, "Let them go for the life of slavery, but we want the martyrdom. They are always afraid of death, but we search for the death."